There's no doubt that for the first home buyer market, housing affordability, will continue to be a critical issue, and I think that will continue as we do face into still a rising interest rate environment. What we've done in BankSA to try and ensure that there are still opportunities for people to enter the first home buyers market to change some of the policy settings we have. So we now take into account rental income as a sign of savings in looking at someone's ability to service a home loan. So there are ways that we can also assist in the banking industry to help first home buyers into the market. But it's, there's no doubt that it will always continue to be a challenge, and I think what we'll see people do is, make decisions perhaps to enter the market, with an apartment, versus perhaps a house, or to actually be purchasing in suburbs that are a little bit further out, and hence, more affordable in the price bracket that a first home buyer is looking at.
Commercial property, investors have been saying that the banks have been reluctant to lend at any particular sort of what they would call a reasonable margin for commercial property. Is that still the case, or has that eased?
From BankSA's perspective, I can talk very clearly, and that is that we're very much open for business and supporting our customers in their commercial property transactions. So we've seen some of those in the first half of this year, and I'm very confident that we'll see more of those as we go forward in the second half. There's no doubt that the price of funding and the average cost of funds for BankSA, as for other banks, has continued to increase. And we're now dealing with, a new reality or a new normal, and that is that the cost of funding is higher than what it was prior to the GFC. And in fact, that is going to be an environment that we'll continue to need to operate in. And that's due very much to global forces as much as anything else. So I think there's also been a transitionary period where businesses throughout all of the sectors are having to also adjust the way that they operate and their expectations of what funding actually costs now.
Business investment. We saw a report this morning put out by Deloitte Access Economics, which said that there is a sort of two gears in the business investment area. The mining industry, for example, is investing heavily. Manufacturing industry is not. What are you seeing in the South Australian economy in relation to business investment?
In the South Australian economy specifically, we are certainly confident and more positive going into the second half that we'll see improved business investment and hence business requirement for lending. In the South Australian economy, there's some big projects that are already underway and more in the pipeline. So even just this week with the announcements around Woomera, the announcement obviously with the positive vote for the Adelaide Oval redevelopment, I think all of those types of construction and development projects will also have funds flow into the broader economy with opportunities for service businesses to be able to sort of increase the revenue opportunities for themselves, and that flows through the rest of the economy. So I think that there's no doubt that the mining sector is operating much more strongly than the rest of the Australian economy. But for South Australia, where we now have some good exposure into the mining sector, that will flow through to other industries. So I think that drives quite a positive longer term view for South Australia specifically.
And finally, the rural sector in South Australia, it's underpinned our economy since 1836 really.
It has.
And they've been banking some big money.
They have indeed. Look, it's just fantastic to see that our rural customers have had such a great harvest, and I think shaping up for potentially another good season ahead. So the deposit inflows that we've seen from the grain harvest have been significant. In fact, I think when we looked at it, we've received more funds in the first half of this year than we received in the entire year last year. So that's an indication of actually how significant the harvest funds have been. And I think it's probably well deserved for our farmers after a long period of drought. And as I say, I think that, and certainly hope that we're looking forward to another good season ahead.
Joan Kettle, thank you.
Thanks.